Good morning, everybody. I have woken up, done my exercise, recovered from retreat, and I'm super excited to be hosting this morning's UBS Live. Now, what I'm going to do as we're getting ready to start at 9 a.m. on the dot is I'm going to do my best to share this across into the Ultimate Business Support Group and the Author Your Way to Riches groups, because we want to broadcast in 3 spots all at the same time, and I can only do it through my personal profile. So give me a second while I am doing this now in, hey Kitty, I'm going to do this now from my personal profile on my computer. So this is something you guys can also do yourselves if you want to broadcast a live in a few different spots. So just bear with me. And we'll get this organized. Okay, so you go through, you click share in a group. We'll select the group, obviously. And here we go, Ultimate Business Support. And I'm just going to call that the same thing I called it on here. UBS Live. Good morning, Adair. UBS Live Ultimate Retreat Success Formula. Retreat Success Formula. Boom. I'll do that. All right, so copy that because I'm going to share it a couple of times. So trying something new this morning. Copy, post. Okay, so this is like going live at the same time in a few different spots. So let's share it one more time into my Author Your Way to Riches group. And if you guys are not part of those groups, you so should be. Because they're super awesome and super interactive. All right, shared it there, and I might give it one more go, see if I can share it on my fan page, and see what happens afterwards, because we can test if you can get a larger audience if you obviously are live in a few. I know this takes a little bit longer to do, but if you had a virtual assistant and if they saw you go live on your personal profile, they could potentially on your behalf you have copied it over to the groups. How cool. Yeah. So Kitty, can you do me a favor, because it's still not 9 a.m. and we're starting in 3 minutes. Can you do me a favor and see if you are in the, go to the Ultimate Business Support group and see if you can watch the live right now from it and let me know. Let's see if I can share it to my fan page. Share it on a page you can manage. Yes. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do all of them. I'm going to do a couple of them. My personal branding one. And then I'm going to share it on my fan page for Ultimate Footer Author. And that's like now going to go in 5 spots. Thanks, Kitty, for checking that for me. Obviously, we're testing something. So let's hope all of this works really well. All right, done. I'm done. All right, I'm going to shut down these computers. And I trust that my internet is going to play nice with me today. If not, be patient with me. I'm not going anywhere. And I'll switch from, I'm currently on a home internet, but I'm going to switch across to, yes, it's in UBS Live. Cool. Awesome. And so might do this every week. Just go on my personal profile and then share it across. It's awesome. So thank you. And I can see comments and all of that sort of stuff. Super excited for this week. We have a big week ahead of us. I have a list this long after retreat, the post-retreat follow-up. And of course, this morning I made the topic what it is today because I just came off retreat. You know, there's lots of insights and learnings and things that are fresh in my head that I want to share. But who was it yesterday? There was a gentleman, I'm not sure, I can't remember his name, but he asked me if I could you know, cover off actually like a checklist of things that need to happen when you run a retreat, and do I have one of those? And of course I have one of those. You guys know that I have the planners, and I've got the 2018 ones, which a lot of you have been buying. We're third way you know, sold out. So they've been, I'm determined I'm going to sell these until October. But in these planners, you guys, there are 3 pages at the beginning of them that actually do have checklists for those that run events. Good morning, Linda, Lauren, Caroline. The checklists are like here, like, so I've got a checklist for webinar execution on one page, checklist for seminar execution, and checklist for retreat execution. Now, of course, these are, you know, there's a lot more than these checklists, but I think they cover off quite a lot of the key things that you need to think about and when you should start planning and what you should do. So I'm a huge believer, and I have officially started, right? It's not, I've just say 9 o'clock. So what I say is, I will share the retreat execution checklist today, and if I don't get through it all, say I get through it halfway because I'm talking more on one point than another point, if you guys want, let's break this up over 2 Mondays and we can do like half of it today and half of it next week. Let me know what you think about that, because I don't want to rush through it if you know, I just want to give you proper detail, because if you don't know the whole story, you can't really replicate it. Okay, what's really important, first thing I'm going to say, is that you have to also master the first two, because I told you I have a checklist for webinar execution, event execution, and retreat execution. So because your retreats are never going to get filled unless you run the webinars and seminars prior to that. Again, I'm more than happy to go through the other two, but today particularly we're going to talk about retreats. And if you do have questions or you need more clarity, even before or after this call, because this is being recorded, send them. The first point on the checklist is date and time selected. So as I go through, okay guys, I've moved around all around this house. Hey, good morning sis. All right, I've moved around all around this house and I've got a signal, so I'm just gonna sit down here, get the light happening. All right, I'm out of my office. I swear to God, NBN cannot come any earlier. Just broke what I was so into saying, but it's coming to our area. Okay guys, I know it keeps getting interrupted. I'm gonna just take out something as a backup. On my internet, I don't have good phone internet, I don't have good house internet, and NBN is being installed in our area as we speak. So, okay, let me see if anything happens again, if I can find my other dongle internet. I've got 3 backups for internet, you guys. No, I can't find it. If it's here, I'm gonna keep going. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. But in the recording, I know that this will be like the cut off that interruption, and obviously it's just one video, which kind of has me complaining about my internet. All right, let's go before it cuts off. Point number 1, date and time selected, 6 months lead up in terms of when you would be running your retreats, and 9 months if you're new at doing them. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people think, oh, I'll just put on a retreat in 2 or 3 months time, and it will be fine, and it'll fill, and this is amazing, and everyone thinks that their retreats are the best thing ever, and that's cool. You have to think that, yeah, absolutely, but you also need to be able to communicate and explain the value behind what you're doing, and for people to buy into that vision and how the transformation would occur to them when they come to your retreat. Very much so, I believe retreat experiences are a transformational experience and something people will remember for life, and where they'll make close friendships and connections. So if you are new at doing them, I would give yourselves 9 months time in the lead up, so that you can have other forms of filling these retreats organized, and you can do those first. So as I explained when I came on live, is that there is events, running your own webinars and seminars that will eventually end up, getting people, to understand what the value behind your retreat is. So that's point number 1. Select your date. This is crucial. No date, there's no commitment in your brain, but there's also no commitment if you tell people, oh, I'm going to run this, and if they're really, really interested, if you just kind of have been talking about that, they will go, oh yeah, so when is it happening? And they'll go, oh well, I haven't really selected a date. I think it might be around October, and that doesn't give anyone any certainty. And I'm the first to say, when I first launched my very first retreat, I hadn't had a date. It was the idea, and I had what it would include and all that sort of stuff. But Blaze said to me, Nat, just pick a date. And once you pick a date, you have the certainty it's happening, but also then you work towards that, and you just work backwards. So that's these first 2 points I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about, because these first two points are the key to getting your events filled. Other things, there is strategies and obviously what you should be doing. However, picking the date is one of the most important things. And when you pick the date, you never, ever, ever change it. Okay, because there's a rule in Bums on Seats, and what Francesca and I teach through that book, and when we teach people about events, is you never cancel or delay an event, because people, even though some people will go, oh, but I can't make that date, or I can't do this, or I can't do that, doesn't matter. You'll find your right people who can make the date, who can commit to that, and they will shift things in their life if it's important enough to be there. Yes. As Kitty says, so my first retreat will be in September 2018. Yes, and pick the actual dates, Kitty, not just September 2018. All right, so number 2 point off the checklist, as I said, is table of value. Okay, so what is your retreat going to include? What does that look like? And I believe a little, let me show you guys. I'm just going to pull it up on my computer in a second. But what 3 levels of inclusions can you offer people who come along to your retreat? So we have got silver, golden, now remote option. We used to have like platinum, but I changed that because I don't want to offer any one-on-one. So I'm just going to show you on my screen. I didn't pull this up before. Packages. Here we go. It's coming up. Okay. So I'm going to show you just briefly what this looks like. Okay, let me see. Flip the camera. So on my screen, here it is. All right. And that's what our ultimate 48-hour author packages look like. And we've got like all the different 3 levels, the ticks, the inclusions, what people get, what kind of support, and so on. forth. So what does this mean? Well, you know exactly what your proposal is, right? And what is it going to look like? What kind of bonuses? What is it going to include? And of course, you can price it accordingly, because pricing your retreat is very, very important to take a lot of things into consideration. So let's talk a little bit about pricing. You need to look at a lot of things. When I first started out, I priced my retreat at a certain point, which was a lot less than what it is now. Of course, when you're starting out, also when you don't have credibility, proof, results, testimonials, all that sort of stuff, you want to build those up as you run a few, and then you can increase your price. But what I also didn't realize is actually how much work and effort and marketing dollars I would need to spend to discover my people who would attend my retreats, right? So often people can look at the picture from the outside and from what people see of us when they haven't been on the inside is like, you guys are expensive, right? But what they don't know is the amount, like our retreats have nearly 50%, 45 to 50% is costs. So other people that I have got lined up, they do work for our authors. And other things I need to take into consideration is all the travel that I do, all the half-day events, all the speaking gigs, all the product, and all of the Facebook advertising that we do. Like it costs about $1,500 to discover one of my retreat participants in advertising spend, right? And then you've got other components of your time and effort and your formula and your system and all of that you have pulled together. So when you're pricing your retreat, yes, certainly start lower than where you would be, say, where you want to be maybe in a couple of years' time with it. But also you will start to learn how much effort and work and coordination and logistics it takes to make it happen. So that's what look at your costs and definitely, build that into what the price would be, so that you know that you will be, it'll be feasible, because the amount of work you will need to do, it will need to make this, if this is going to be the way you want to execute your business, and this is how you would make your business viable, you want to ensure that, everything lines up for that to happen, and therefore the pricing needs to be correctly calibrated. Okay, so number 3 point on my checklist is sexy name of retreat chosen and outcomes in terms of wants outlined. So what do I mean by that? Well, to attract people into an experience, your retreat needs to say, what outcome are they going to get as a result of attending that particular retreat? What are they going to do? Are they going to walk away with a fully organized life around their health and wellness, and they'll go home and they'll have everything, all the plans in place. With us, it's, they're going to walk away having published, written their book and on the way to getting it. So the tangible outcome is the book. What is it that will have organized? If you're a videographer, they're going to walk away with 20 videos for all of their content for the next 6 months. So what is the outcome, and how do you communicate the wants? So what do your ideal clients want? Not what they need. You're going to give them what they need when they're working with you, but what do they want? Because it's in the wants. Like what we're talking right now, the want is you guys want to run retreats successfully and profitably, right? The need is you need to know all of these things that I'm going to be taking you through, which is a series of 20 or 30 things, which is the too hard basket. So the needs are the too hard basket. The wants are the magic bullets. I want to run, our retreats are generally on average $250,000 weekend. Now that weekend is not, it's not like the work is, you do 48 hours and that's the $250,000. That's what you get paid for. That, as I said, it's like a 6 to 9 month period, and sometimes I think it's 12 months, because now everything's on a rotational basis, that it requires the effort, and people just see this cherry on the top of being the retreat that just was, and they think, oh, she's so lucky or whatever. Whereas it actually takes a whole year's work. The whole year we work for these 4 or 5 weekends now that we have 5. We've done this year. So just remember, there is a lot more effort than just the want. So the want is, I want to run retreats. I want them to be profitable. I want them to be fully booked. I want them to obviously, change people's lives and all that sort of stuff. But what I need to do, I need to set up pre-filling strategies. I need to organize venue. I need to be like an event manager. I need to handle people's mindset. I need to work with, all of the little marketing strategies to, fill these rooms that are required. So the wants are different to the needs, and you need your retreat sexy name and your retreat wants need to be clearly communicated in your marketing, because that's what people buy into, is the outcome. Your outcome is that, but of course there's 100 steps before that outcome that they will take with you. All right, now next one. Set up a Facebook event with a call to action to qualify interested into retreat. I used to do this in the early days, and you can still do it nowadays. I don't do it anymore. There's just a different funnel, but this is when you're starting out. So a Facebook event for your retreat, but you certainly are not going to you're not going to kind of go, oh, people have clicked going and assume that they're going, because most likely your retreat will be a significant investment. And so and also you don't want just any Tom, Dick or Harry coming to your retreat. They need to be a perfect fit, because not everyone that works with us or wants to write a book is actually a perfect fit. Because they may not be writing the genre of book that we don't want to work with. We may not want to work with them as a person, because we have a certain type of avatar or ideal client that we have in our mind, and we want to work with nice and good people. So we actually judge on 2 things: content, in terms of what is this going to be, and also personality, because when you go to retreat, you want to have an amazing time, and so you want to hang out with people who you love hanging out with, right? So that's the 2 things to consider. So if you're going to set up a Facebook event, ensure that you advertise the want, your sexy name and all of that, but your call to action is to have a conversation with you, to jump on the phone, to actually meet with each other and discuss it properly. Or, obviously the next step would be to invite them to some event or pre-presentation about your retreat, which in our case is our half-day events that we do. All right, next one. Qualify potential attendees through 30 minutes or sometimes 60-minute chats to ensure they're a match and add value. So it's important to go through these. I think, especially when you're starting out, it's really good to discuss the outcomes, figure out what a person wants, what do they need, because everyone is slightly different, and you want to make sure that they're going to be happy with the ultimate result. So have qualifying chats. Thank you. Love to buy a book on organizing retreats. Actually, Penelope, that will be my 2018 book, because we're about to release, you guys, in 2 weeks. Today is going to print. Guilt-Free Parents is going to print, but I already unpacked the retreats book for next year. I never write more than 1 book a year, because I don't want to dilute the promotional activities of the current title, and I want to give it a really red hot go out there. But the retreat book is already unpacked, and it'll have obviously a lot more depth and detail about that. Okay, next one. Post regularly into your Facebook event to generate interest. Focus mostly to getting people to your webinar or seminar. So as I said, the lead into retreat needs to have webinars and seminars that are going to add more value for people regarding, what this thing is about, right? Because it's pretty massive. When you deliver a retreat, it's a massive outcome, and people need to understand the value behind it. It is only when you have developed and established value that you should be talking price, okay? Because so often, this is an example why. I will have a husband or a wife come into my half-day event, and what happens is the other partner hasn't been. and then they understand the value. They've been there. We have sat through a 4-hour presentation, and they're excited about writing their book with us. And then they go home and tell the partner or the husband or the wife, whoever it is, and they say to them, I'm going to do this, it's blah, 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 this is what it is, and they tell them the price, and all they're telling them is a price, because the other partner has not actually been there to understand the value and the enormity of what this experience would be. And often you'll have pushback. So lately what I have been doing is actually inviting, if you have a spouse that's involved in the decision-making process or a business partner, actually I would be happy for you to bring them along to the presentation so you both understand what this is all about. Because then it's a lot easier for both people to be on the same wavelength and to have buy-in from both sides. Otherwise, the other person who wasn't at your presentation will judge your retreat upon the price. That's the only thing. Oh, that's too expensive. Not knowing anything behind it, the potential return on investment, the strategies and all that kind of stuff. This is why just purely selling into retreat is not the right correct strategy. You see them all out there. You've seen a ton of entrepreneurs. How many people run half-day events? How many people run webinars, free seminars, low-cost seminars? All of these components are not there for no reason. I know that you hardly make any money or you lose money on them. So in the world of running retreats, we tend to lose money at the front end and we make money at the back end. Okay, and so you need to have that foresight and do the hard work, because people are not going to just go, oh, he is wonderful, sounds wonderful, I'll just invest this because it's the right fit. You might find those types of people, and generally those types of people will end up being someone who is already warmed up to you. I've had that happen to me. They haven't come to my half day or to anything else, but they have actually gotten to know me. They have trust, rapport. Maybe someone else told them I was good, and actually had 2 ladies who were at the retreat just gone who were referred from my previous authors. There wasn't a very long conversation for them to actually make a decision to join us, because already someone else had pre-sold them into what we do, right? And in that regard, if I can add on, what we do is we pay out a affiliate kickback, cash kickback to our authors who referred. Because, at the end of the day, they're saving us a ton of marketing dollars that we could be paying into Facebook, right? So we honor that. And of course, then you have a lot more warm referrals coming in, because people love to just get that little bonus if they just end up talking about an experience that they love anyway. Let me address these questions from Penny. So when you promote your retreats, you should not disclose the fee. Absolutely not, because what is the point? The retreat will be actually purely judged on the on its fee. Purely, they'll go, it's either going to say that's too expensive, which is most of the time the case, because retreats really, if you're going to go through a process of putting something on, I don't think any retreat should be any less than $3,000 from a minimum 2-day, and then scale it up depending on what costs and expenses there are. So someone that purely will judge it. That's why I always say, always establish value. I always try to get someone into my half-day workshop to actually really understand what happens and why we are the experts and why we've got the shortcuts and how those shortcuts happen, and display a little bit of the gold that will happen on the inside. And then we can discuss this is what the value is, because then they go, oh my God, that's like a no-brainer. That price is too cheap. Because I know some of you guys may not believe, but very high-level entrepreneurs and people over in the States said that my program was way too cheap. Way too cheap. They said it's half of the price where it should be for the value that you deliver. And then there's people out there that are charging 5 times the price that I do for the similar thing. So, but you have to be okay with where you are at and what you choose to charge, and how you're going to increase that, or how you're going to adjust it, or how you're going to add further value. So I trust that answers your question. I try as much as possible, Penny, not to talk about fees until I know wants, needs, challenges. So you know what I mean? Have the proper conversation. It's like, well, how can I quote you? I've got 3 different levels, right? And I don't even know, first of all, number one, I don't know if you're a fit. I don't know if I like you. I don't know if your book content is valid to my retreat. So even if I told you a price, what does it really mean? Yeah. If someone pushes, of course I will. And I know whenever I have disclosed my price, I have never ever closed that client. Never. When they've pushed and pushed and pushed at the front end, it's like, okay, goodbye, here's the price, goodbye, kind of thing. And that's what happens. And you will notice this. I mean, I've been doing it now over 4 years with these retreats, 17 retreats. And I know it. I've been through all the no's. I know when people say no. I know they never come back if they don't decide within 24 to 48 hours. That's why I've got my 48-hour fast mover price. And that's the psychology of people. And you just kind of, you know where the closure is, and just keep going and actually talk to the people who actually do want to know a lot more before you talk price. All right, let's see what else I've got on this list. I know I'm going to run out of time. I told you this, guys, in the beginning that this is probably a 2-week UBS live. But let's go through a couple more of these. Run a series of lead-up webinars and seminars to generate chats and attendees to retreat. So absolutely, the lead up, when you time this is why 2018 for me is already mapped out like on a calendar like that. And also in my 2018 planner, and this is why I brought out and I always bring out the planners so early, like around July, is because I like to already know what's happening, definitely my first 6 months of the following year. But it's because I need to schedule all my pre-event seminars and webinars and where I'm going to be and how my national tours are going to look like. So so that's why so let me give you like a rule of thumb. I think it takes, I love the fast mover first for retreat. Yeah, great value. Okay, so I would say, I'm just going to calculate it for you guys. It takes between 6 to 8 pre-lead up events to fill a retreat. So I do about 28 half-day events, and then I do a ton of speaking gigs and a few webinars. I don't do as many webinars nowadays, but I'm going to test out my half-day in an online format. Yes, it takes about 6 to 8. You know, you kind of go, oh my God, that's a lot of events just for one retreat, and doing it over, like if you want to do multiples. But if this becomes your formula of how you choose to monetize your business, then you just do them in blocks. Like I'm about to embark on my national tour starting this Wednesday. It's Melbourne, and then we've got Canberra, Sydney, Newcastle the week of the 21st of August. Then we've got all of the Brisbane leg mid-September and late September is the Western Australia and South Australia. So there's going to be a 6 intense weeks of events, and a lot of people come through. But the thing is, that's half a year's worth of my results that are going to progress and fill at least a couple of the next retreats with good numbers. And it's because I know my conversion rate, and you will get to a point where you know, generally, if I get a room of 30 people, how many am I going to convert and all that sort of stuff. And I know some of you are now thinking, well, what is that conversion rate? I would work on 10%. If you're doing more than that, you're doing amazing. And if you're doing, you know, in America, they were very impressed when I said I was doing 10 to 12% on average. And they said people here normally get like 5 to 6. But yeah, anything over sort of that percentage, you know, and I've seen it. It's pretty similar in big or small rooms. I've tested both. Yes, you build a more rapport in small rooms, and you get more connected with the people. So maybe that might establish a more long-term relationship. However, big and small rooms end up evening out about the same one. So yeah, 6 to 8 pre-retreat lead-up events. Speaking gigs, I wouldn't sell a retreat off a speaking gig. I actually sell into my half-day workshop or into a next step to get more time with them. But yeah, that's what I would estimate. So that you've got to work backwards from that. And this is why I told you need 6 to 9 months lead up to make that happen. All right, well, let's go through one more because I know we missed out on a few minutes there when I cut off, but I also have to have breakfast because I've got an author prep coming up at 10 to 12. All right, what's my next one here? Start your retreats at a lower price point so you can collect testimonial and then increase prices. I think I already alluded to this before that, building up testimonials, and as I call proof in the pudding, like what you can see all behind me. I didn't have that obviously when I started out. I purely had my own book. Everyone said, have you done this before? And I almost feel like their arms are crossed and very skeptical, right? And I said, well, yes, I've done it with myself, so I know it's possible and I'm confident. But the first group of people, you guys, that came and did my retreat, the first 10, were people that already had built a lot of rapport, were working with me the one-on-one, and had been my network for the last 3 years. So there were a very warm network of people that bought into what I did and came and did it. And once their book covers and all of that came out, everyone was kind of like jumping on the bandwagon and going, oh, of course it works. I'm curious about this. Tell me more. Da, 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 da. And that's how I filled the first 3 or 4 retreats, really without too much of a system like I do now. Now it's like a well-oiled machine. You know when you're leading, stuff happens. You know how you execute everything. Everything becomes a lot easier, second nature. And even my recovery, I mean, I've got so much more stamina now. After retreat, you would have never seen me on a call at 9 a.m. or even gotten up for a 7:15 PT session after retreat. But now I can, you don't get as tired. You know your systems. You know how everything's going to roll out, and it goes. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so start at a lower price point, get your testimonials, get comfortable with it, and do increase it to a level where you actually, at the end of the day, know your financials. You need to know what dollars it takes you to get a person into that retreat. What effort as well, because you spending a lot of time on the road, speaking 100 times a year at different events and different promotional activities, all of that counts. You don't just get paid for that 2, 3 day, 5 day, whatever your retreat's going to be. You should estimate your efforts and all of that, that and also the value that you've built in that you're going to give to other people. Do you need to keep your retreats affordable for your first few retreats? Well, what is affordable? Everything is different. Penelope, I still think you must make a profit out of your retreats. Definitely do not set them up at a price point that it's going to cost you money. You need to be mindful in terms of, like, we used to hire houses and take people in there, and Stuart used to cook, so we saved on costs in terms of food. And when you divided the prices of the rental, it wasn't as much as now that we pay in conference centers, and we just did a lot of things where even if people dropped out or something happened, that we wouldn't end up being out of pocket, that you always end up being in front, because the amount of effort and heart that you put into pulling this together, it's going to be you want to walk away with some kind of an outcome. And bottom line is that I'm so proud of people who do go through and execute their first one, because the first one is always the hardest, and it's kind of the just to break that seal and move on. All right, guys, so I think I'm going to stop there. I did go through half of this page, the retreat execution checklist that I have got in my planners, because I just need to talk through a lot more of the detail in what's now coming up in the following half. So if you think this was valuable, would you like me to go through the rest of it and sort of explain it and give you my insights? Because I talk over and above to what the point on the checklist is and how you need to think about with your mindset. But bottom line is, it is absolutely wonderful running retreats that you come home, and I always go, oh my God, prior to retreat, I kind of get to a point of, this is too much work. I can't believe I did this. And then at the end of it, now that I've come home from retreat, I was like, when is the next one? When is the next one? On that point, the next Ultimate 48-Hour Author Retreat is the 17th to the 19th of November. But more importantly, as I said throughout this call, I want to see you guys at a half-day event. I don't want to see you talking to me about my retreat and coming to it. Come to a half-day and then we can talk. But I'll be in Melbourne this Wednesday in Brighton. And Kitty, who's been on the call, she's coming to crew for me, and Stuart will be there. Yeah, I've enjoyed this morning. I'm super excited for you guys, and I will come doing part 2 next week and keep giving you some awesome tips around that. And I hope to see you at one of the events tonight. If you're in Melbourne, in Bulleen at the Manningham Club, we are speaking with Stuart. First time on stage together. about guilt-free parents, and Wendy has put on a $10 first time ever visitor price. So I'll share a link below when I get off, and or just look up Magnificent Women in Business and should be able to find their event. And she's got like a $10 ticket for first time visitors. And I think if you buy one, like if you've got a husband or a wife, or like, because it's a women's event, but men are invited tonight. Men can come because it's all about couples. So I hope to see some of you there tonight in Bulleen, and otherwise we might do a bit of a live stream from inside the room of me and Stuart speaking. All right, mwah, gorgeous people, have an awesome Monday. Off for me to have some brekkie, smash out this week, and I'm going to prep one author and then get on my massive post-retreat checklist, to-do list to touch base, like obviously to finalize and wrap up the event. And I'll talk about that next week. All right, talk to you soon. Bye, guys. Thanks for being patient with the internet.